Marcellus Wild.
Oh, they know.
It's time for some big stories. Let's start in Dallas, where the Cowboys got another big game out of Ezekiel Elliott in a win over the Lions yesterday. With Zeke rushing for more than 150 yards and adding 4 catches for 88 yards and a touchdown, what was also Dak Prescott's best game of the year, passing for 2 touchdowns and topping 250 yards for the first time since Week 13 last year. Marcellus, was that win more about Dak or Zeke?
Oh, it was about Zeke, absolutely. What you learned is that the Cowboys' offensive meeting room went like this. You know what? There's only one way you're going to win. There's only one way we could put up points, is to feed Zeke. And think about it. The games before what we saw yesterday, Zeke didn't get 20-plus carries. Yesterday, 25 carries. Zeke had the most scrimmage yards and the most touches he had this season. That was being force-fed. That wasn't by coincidence. So what it did was now allow Dak Prescott to go out there and have a great game. Remember last week when Zeke had 100-plus rushing yards and Dak still struggled? This time they give you even more of Zeke, and finally Dak has a good game. Some are saying great game. But that's by like 1992 measurements instead. If Dak Prescott's going out there throwing 2 touchdowns and 250 yards, and we're like, oh my God, amazing. That's Eric Kramer. That's some old way before the new rules and new changes has occurred. To me, it's still about Zeke. If Zeke goes off and has an amazing game, Dak can be okay.
Disagree.
Let me hear it.
The Lions have the worst rush defense in football.
All right.
They had the second best passing defense in football. Did a nice job of slowing Tom Brady down. Zeke was Zeke. But Zeke was Zeke was Zeke.
Okay.
Dak is the guy that actually elevated, made the game-winning throw, that long pass to Zeke. I'll give it to him. But that was a dime that won and decided the game. And so Dak is the guy that elevated and gave the rest of the team confidence. This game was far more about Dak Prescott, who just last week there were people like, hey, man, is Zeke jumping off the Dak bandwagon? Are there questions in that locker room and in that organization about, is Dak really our long-term quarterback? And again, did he answer that question definitively yesterday? No.
No, thank you.
But did he give people confidence like, oh, okay, if we do the right thing.
Why you sound like Snoop? Oh, okay. What you mean? What confidence? What?
If we do the right thing.
What?
Dak Prescott is – I thought – I watched this game start to finish. I thought Dak –
55 yards, 17 to 27. Will you stop? That was an all-time game by Ezekiel Elliott. That was the best game we've seen from any running back from scrimmage this year. It took all of that. Like, historic implications for Dak to go, meh, good, all right, great. Like, use Dak. Look at the total sample size, the 3 years, 2016 until now. Dak Prescott, this is crazy. This is alarming. In today's NFL, has only thrown for 3 games over 300 yards. In 3 years. Patrick Mahomes already done that twice and is going to do it again probably tonight to make it 3 in 4 games. I'm not even going to go there. Dak has never thrown for 4 touchdowns or more in any game ever. And Mr. Trubisky and others, I'm just saying, like, when we give Dak the pass, it's not fair to Ezekiel or to this franchise. And I think the offense finally figured that out, and they fed Zeke.
Patrick Mahomes is a rare talent. Working with one of the great offensive coaches of all time.
Okay.
Working with Tyreek Hill, one of the fastest receivers. Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends.
What about Mr. Trubisky? What about Ryan Fitzpatrick a couple times? Like, give me one of those games where I'm just like, yeah, new NFL standards. Not Eric Kramer. Like, give me something. He's giving you nothing that shows you.
You know Cole Beasley's his top receiver, right?
That's not right.
That's his top receiver. That's not his third down possession guy. Let me get a first down.
Dez was there, though, a couple of those years. And Cole Beasley played better than Dez.
Dez Bryant, the ghost of Dez Bryant was there for a couple years.
True.
Early on that first year, Dez was there. And Dak hasn't had the pieces. I don't think he has the right head coach in terms of offensive guru. That performance yesterday provided hope and confidence in Dallas. That, to me, Ezekiel Elliott, we know he's one of the best backs in the league.
Preach.
The headline in the story is like, Dak restores some confidence, gives us hope in Dallas. If he can continue to play like that, Look, they're not out of the division.
No, they're not.
Philadelphia's 2-2.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas has hope. All right, to a big story out of Pittsburgh, where the Steelers continue to struggle this weekend, putting up just 14 points in a loss to the Ravens. Big Ben admitted after the game that he's got to be better, but the team also missed Le'Veon Bell, with James Conner putting up just 19 yards on 9 carries. Marcellus, what's the bigger concern for the Steelers? Big Ben struggles or Le'Veon Bell's absence?
Oh, it's Le'Veon Bell's absence. Think about this. When you're playing against a dynamic team like this, we used to call them the tripods. So over the years, we've seen a few tripods. You saw it in Dallas Cowboys when they won 3 or 4 championships, and they had Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith. So as a defender, as a D coordinator, you're sitting there like, yeah, you know what? We're going to stack the box and make sure Emmitt doesn't beat us. You just let Troy Aikman throw the ball to Michael Irvin all day, so then you say, oh, okay, we got to play pass defense. This is going to let Emmitt Smith run the ball. So then we played the back-to-back champion Denver Broncos. Oh, we're talking about Rod Smith, John Elway, and Terrell Davis. Same formula. You got to stop one, and then you let the other one beat you. So now in Pittsburgh, what they don't have is Le'Veon Bell. So it's no more Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. Without him there in his absence, all the focus is on Antonio Brown. And Antonio Brown is struggling this year beyond the sideline tantrums. Do you know that Antonio Brown has not had a 100-yard receiving game this year? Just think about his level of frustration. And it's only coming from one place, the absence of one Le'Veon Bell.
I think there's a lot of merit to what you're saying. You've argued a hell of a case. I'm just going to go back to where the NFL is right now. It's a quarterback league.
Yes, true.
Everything starts and finishes with the quarterback. And the quarterback's not right here. Big Ben is not the same. He is not aging the way Drew Brees and Tom Brady have aged. He didn't take care of himself early in his career. He just started a workout regimen during the offseason. Hey, I'm on the best day. It's too little, too late.
Yeah.
The shot. Look, man, I am Big Ben's biggest fan. He is, again, he's my favorite player in the NFL. Wears number 7 like John Elway. Reminds me of John Elway. But he's just not aging well. He is the problem. He's the maturity problem. He's the on-field problem. He needed an advisor because, again, when he started that stuff, like I'm thinking about retiring and blah, those little veiled threats. Because I was sitting here on the show when he said that, and I was like, man, he's BSing. He's thinking about retiring. He's just trying to make a threat to the Steelers, and they're not buying it. And now they go out and draft Mason Rudolph, and then he's got a problem with that or whatever. Ben's immature, hasn't handled his career as well as Drew Brees and Tom Brady and some of his contemporaries, and it's falling apart and blowing up on him.
Yeah, look, the story of Big Ben is not a PR dream. I mean, he's not giving you the proper framework and backdrop that supports how good he really is. He's actually better than his story. Even looking at this year and his struggles, you still look at the numbers and you're like, there are 3 games where you're 350-plus yards. And then there's games where you have too many turnovers, and there's games where it's inopportune times. But there are 2 different conversations, because if I'm using the Dak Prescott scale of evaluation that you used last segment, then Big Ben is fine, very good. But
we're not using the Dak
But we are not going to use that right against Big Ben. What Big Ben is realizing is what Antonio Brown has realized. Yo, we need Le'Veon, and we need him now, because that's why you saw the success in the dynasties of before. And they had something dynastic. Whether they won all the Super Bowls or not, they've been to 2. They won 13 wins last year. Without Le'Veon Bell, they really took a lot away from this offense.
Le'Veon Bell's value is unquestioned, and they should pay him, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think he's proven that. I don't think he fixes the Big Ben problem.
Really?
No, because, again, Big Ben's immaturity keeps showing up no matter who's in the backfield. This has been an ongoing thing for the last 2 or 3 years. People have just been making excuses. He has not handled things well, all the way down to, and look, I know that Todd Haley can be a bully and annoying and all that.
Yes.
But I think Todd Haley was the right offensive coordinator. If Ben were in a different mindset of accepting coaching, of bowing to coaching a little bit, and partnering up with an offensive coordinator rather than going to war with one all the time, at some point you have to say to Big Ben, how come every offensive coordinator Tom Brady has had, they've seemed to have some kind of special bond and partnership and friendship. And it seems like every coordinator or somebody that works for Big Ben, they're constantly at war. That's on Big Ben. And then you go look over at Todd Haley. He just put 42 points up with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty good offensive coordinator. And again, I know he can be a bit of a jerk, but
unfair there, because that's result driven. Like when Tom Brady beats with Bill O'Brien and curses him out and all that, we say, oh, but they win the Super Bowl, so that's just passion. But then when you're Big Ben and you lose, but even though you win 13 games, 12 as a starter, and then we see you yell at the same
Todd Haley fired.
Yeah,
basically.
He did. And
we just had his buddy promoted offensive coordinator, and they just scored 14 points on Baltimore.
Right. And if they would have won last year, won it all, then we sit there and say, you know what, Big Ben knows best. But it's still result driven. But I get you. His story's not telling the full picture.
All right, stick around. Later in the show, we'll give you our approval ratings for Big Ben. Here's where they were before yesterday's game. Marcellus and I both had him as a role player. We'll see where he ends up today. Also coming up, Green Bay got a big win yesterday, but Aaron Rodgers wasn't happy about it. Tony Gonzalez will be here to tell you what it all means for the Packers.